Jesus Christ. Well, hey, everybody.
Hi, guys.
Thank God I'm atheist.
The podcast.
I'm Frank.
And I'm Dan.
Coming up on today's episode, we're laughing. I just spit water all over my
Frank
computer.
literally just exploded with water like all over his computer.
I'm looking for tissues, but I don't see any right now.
Oh.
But anyways, no, we'll keep going. Coming up on today's episode, we're going to be talking about Independence Day.
Yeah, hooray! That would be American Independence Day. We're not going to be talking about like Canada Day or anything like that, which we also just had.
God, no.
So
Yeah.
there you go. And who knows? You know, if this round of Egyptian presidency takes hold, maybe they'll excuse me. Maybe they'll have a celebration around this time too.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
My gosh,
Nice.
you and I are both struggling.
Well, it's just a struggling sort of day, I guess.
Yeah, I caught a piece of trail mix fruit and nut bar in
Well,
the back
there's a
of my
problem
throat.
with having a quick snack before recording because I was trying to rinse the cookie out of my mouth and water just went. Good God.
Oh, we're dying here, people.
At least my computer still works. So.
Yeah, that's a good thing. Water's generally not good for computers, so there you go.
Especially ones with all sorts of crevices that go right down into the...
Yeah, there you
Anyways. All right.
What do you got for us, Frank?
Well, I have a story that kind of follows up with something that we talked about a while back. Number of months ago, probably, at this point. Probably 3 months ago.
Okay.
I'm going to say it was about 3 months ago.
I'll go with you on that.
And we were talking about... We were being fairly critical of parents who homeschool their children. And but the article was steeped in like Christianity, and
right.
I think it was something about this German couple, right, who was trying to get asylum in this country,
right?
Because they couldn't teach their kids at home back in Germany,
right?
Anyway, so that was the story then, and we kind of laid into homeschooling as just as an idea. But there's an article that popped up this week that I saw about humanists who are homeschooling their kids. Out of, again, an objection to the public schools, but their objection is that the schools aren't good enough.
Right.
And they feel that they can do a better job.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of obstacles that they face, such as the curricula that's available to teach their kids is typically all this Christian-y shit.
Yeah.
All the books that have been designed up for homeschooling and
right.
How does a parent, the methodology of a parent teaching a kid, it's all from this other perspective.
Right.
And so it's specifically talking about this one woman who kind of has cobbled together her own stuff and has started to reach out to other humanist parents.
Right.
Because, obviously, there's a lot of issues here. One of the issues is that the Christian homeschoolers, they've recognized that one of the big flaws of homeschooling is that you don't have a lot of social opportunities for your kids. Right. And so they have these group outings and whatnot.
They got online resources for Christian-y homeschoolers and let's have a big meetup. And
these parents are going to have a hard time having those kind of resources.
Right, because they're going to go to fucking Jesusville.
Ooh. Yeah, no.
Let's do our outing to the museum that teaches our kids that, dinosaurs and people were chilling together and all that stuff.
Yeah. Which, of course, they were.
Yeah. Well, obviously. Obviously that's true, but these humanists, they might have trouble with that. Yeah, and so I found it kind of interesting because, if I had a kid, I would be concerned about the schools. Not fully I think that my approach would probably be, lots of good outside activities. Sure.
As enrichment activities and
right.
Really trying to dovetail into what they're learning in the classroom.
Right.
I think that would be my approach rather than just keeping them out of the schools 100%. But I would still have it would be a concern.
Yeah.
I would not want to trust 100% the public schools to provide my child with a full education.
Right. Well,
so what do you do?
Indeed. But, it's funny because my friend, I had a conversation that pertains to this just this week. A friend of mine came in from out of town. She lives in Atlanta, and she has a couple kids, and her oldest is 3 now. He is smart. like crazy, ridiculous smart. Like he's 3, he reads.
Mm-hmm.
Not just like knows a few letters or something. He reads.
Right.
As a matter of fact, I didn't buy it for a second. His mom, like, we went to lunch together, and his mom said, "Hey, here's the kids section. Just pick whatever you want."
Mm-hmm.
This is a 3-year-old.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, okay." And I was like, "You can read that?" And he was like, "Oh, yeah."
Mm.
So I made him read all of the stuff to me, and then I just made him read all this other stuff on the menu. I was astounded. Kid is so smart.
Yeah.
Clearly well beyond what his peers are going to be once he gets into school.
Yeah.
And apparently, and they live in an area of Atlanta that has the worst schools.
Oh, no. Yeah.
Their schools are terrible there.
Huh.
And most of Atlanta apparently has pretty bad schools. So their choices are try and find a private school
And pay a ton of money.
right, which they don't have.
Right.
Or homeschool.
Yeah.
So they're considering it.
Yeah. Well,
But-
I think a lot of people probably consider, I mean, I don't know if your friends, if they both work out of the home or whatever, but I would think that if you had 2 parents who were looking at it and your private school is actually being considered versus homeschooling, you'd probably look at it and go, well, you know what? The loss of the one income
Right.
is preferable to having both of us working and shelling out a shit ton of money.
Yeah. Yeah, or it's roughly equivalent.
Or roughly equivalent.
And so you got to sort of size up what.
And in that case, I'd probably pay for the awesome education.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, if it is awesome education,
Yeah.
if it's not just, well, at least it's not the public schools.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like if it's, I mean, Catholic schools can be pretty good, but if it's just the option of, the Catholic schools.
Yeah.
Because I don't know that I would want my kids in the Catholic schools. I mean, depending on what the local Catholic schools are like.
Right.
I guess.
But it's not just I mean, there's magnet schools and all this stuff, and frankly, my friend said she has some ethical questions about like
charter schools.
that are taking funding from the public. Well, I mean,
I saw a thing recently that showed that the charter schools are actually doing very poorly, particularly in Utah.
Oh, really?
That our charter schools just absolutely suck.
Yeah.
And I know of a couple good ones that are actually good, so I don't want to malign all of them. There's like Ames, that's the kids actually get a really good education. But,
okay.
But beyond that, there's like none.
It's a tricky thing.
Like, what is it? I don't want to. Maybe I shouldn't call them out by
don't call
by
them
name.
out.
But there's one that does like theater, and there's another one that does film,
Right.
as like their focus.
Right.
And I know the film one is like, ooh.
The theater one, I don't know much about it. I've heard good things though.
I've heard goodish things. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's I don't badmouth homeschooling as a concept. I think it puts an enormous burden on the parents.
Yeah.
But some parents are good at that. So
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. But yeah, it creates troubles with socialization of the child.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to find a way to circumnavigate that. Otherwise, you get kids who like go to national spelling bees and scream their answers for no apparent reason.
Don't pick on the little kid.
I'm not picking on. I'm picking on the parents for not socializing their child.
Bully.
Well, I'm a bully. I'm going to bully these parents into socializing their children so that we don't have to listen to them.
So we don't have to bully their kids into being normal human beings.
Right. Well, proper socialization includes a little bit of bullying so that they know their place.
Wow, Dan. You just stepped into something.
Well, I do that on occasion.
All right, what you got? What's next?
Jesus. Jesus on the mountaintop.
I suppose that was bound to happen.
Yeah. So there is it really is Jesus on the mountaintop, or to be much more specific, it is Big Mountain Jesus.
Is this in Butte?
This is no.
There's another Jesus?
Uh-huh.
Montana needs more than one Jesus on a mountain?
Yeah, because the one in Butte's huge.
Yeah.
This is just like semi-life size.
Oh.
Here, you want to see a picture?
Okay.
It's on the ski slopes in Montana.
Oh, I've seen this before, but I don't remember anything about it.
Well, so it's,
I remember the story from like 4 years ago.
yeah.
They had something. There was some hubbub about it, but you do your thing.
I'm sure there has been hubbub about it. It's been there since 1953.
Mm-hmm.
Or rather, so in 1953, what happened was the Knights of Columbus in Montana. This is at the Whitefish Mountain Resort in Montana.
Okie doke.
And so the Knights of Columbus were granted a permit by the U.S. Forestry Service to build and maintain a memorial to honor World War II veterans. Now, doesn't that sound nice?
Yeah,
great.
I approve.
They built a Jesus instead.
Does he somehow memorialize these guys?
No, it's
just a Jesus.
They claimed that, quote, veterans of the 10th Mountain Division wanted to commemorate their fallen comrades with a statue that evoked memories of the many religious shrines and statues they had seen in the mountain communities of Europe.
Charming.
Anybody want to pull a bullshit flag on that one? Anybody? So yeah, it's Jesus. His arms are sort of raised up as if to bless all the skiers. And he's in a robe. He should be in a parka because it looks cold.
Why do I find Jesus-y shit and like shrines and whatnot in other countries charming, and in this country I just fucking hate it?
Not on my home turf. Because in other countries, because if it's in Europe, if it's in the old world, it feels like it's a relic of another time.
Maybe.
And here it feels painfully present.
But there's still people that like, clean them up and take care of them.
Oh yeah,
venerate.
I'll tell you, man. Driving through Poland, like it was like every 3 to 5 miles there was either a little shrine to a saint. Mm-hmm. Or a cross, but it was the giant, like 9 to 12 foot tall cross with little teeny Jesus on it. It was this huge cross, and then it would be like,
fetal Jesus,
G.I. Joe sized Jesus,
okay.
Jesus I Joe, or G.I. Jesus. I like G.I. Jesus. We'll go with that. But like, he's so little on this cross. It's so funny. Like the proportion is bizarre, but they do that all throughout Poland.
Right. Huh.
Charming. Anyway, yeah, so...
and I bet it was just delightful.
It was just funny. It was just weird. I didn't object to it. I just thought, this is weird. I don't like this place for that. It did actually put me off of, like... It made me feel like my point of view would certainly be unwelcome there.
Really?
Yes.
In Poland?
Yeah. Also, there's, like, John Paul II popery stuff everywhere.
Yeah.
They don't know he died. They don't know that he died there. Like he's 2 popes back now, and they still are just they have no idea.
Right. So they'll be really happy about him being sainted. We're not talking about that story.
Oh, that's true. But he's
been fast tracked.
Yeah,
it just happened.
Yeah, there you go.
Whatever.
Well, no, they might be unhappy because they find out that he's dead. Anyway, so there's some hubbub about this Jesus in Montana.
Jesus hubbub.
All the guys like us raising a ruckus. So they sued. I think it was the Freedom from Religion Foundation. They filed their lawsuit.
They should.
As well they should. And guess what? And the judge came out with his decision.
Uh-oh.
Jesus can stay.
What?
We're keeping the Jesus.
Grounds?
On the grounds that, quote, over the course of the last 60 years, the statue has become more of a historical landmark and a curiosity.
I don't know what... No.
I almost agree with that. I almost agree with that. I can't really go there because it's, there's a principle here.
Yeah.
But
so basically what there's like...
People are on a ski slope getting their picture taken with Jesus. Yeah. It's just a silly Jesus on a mountain.
Yeah.
I don't think anybody's like it's a huge difference between that and walking into a courtroom,
right,
and seeing like a Christian symbol there.
So you're saying there's some sort of statute of limitations?
Oh boy. Oh boy. Wow.
I normally don't go there.
No,
I normally don't. But it was just it was just hanging right out in front of me.
The judge also said, Big Mountain Jesus constitutes private speech reflecting the personal views of its private owners and therefore cannot be seen by the reasonable observer as reflecting government promotion of religion. And that's where he's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's the moment. Because the fact that Jesus has just been around for forever and he's just this goofy Jesus on the mountain, I agree with that. But trying to make the argument that it's just the private views of the guys who built it, well, then they shouldn't have been allowed to build that.
Yeah, no, that's true.
It can absolutely be deemed. Now, you have to actually know that the mountain's owned by the Forestry Service or owned by the U.S. government to even know that you're not on...
Right.
That it is a political thing. So I tend to think most people wouldn't see it that way. I tend to think most people would not ski past Jesus and think, that's government endorsement of Christianity.
Yeah, well, they're probably at some resort, and
right.
I'm assuming that the resort leases the run.
Right.
And so it's almost in some ways, it's almost more what the resort would even want at this point.
I don't know.
I mean, again, it's weird because, I was making a really, really very dumb joke, and I apologize. But really seriously, there's some sort of if it's there long enough idea.
That's what he's citing.
That's kind of news to me.
Well, I don't think that's a common legal thing. He's just saying that in this case, I love the idea that it's become a curiosity.
Jesus is curiosity.
I'm curious about that, Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
tell me more about Jesus. That's the problem.
Well, no, frankly, the problem is if you actually, yeah. I mean, that shouldn't be a problem. People should be able to say, tell me more about Jesus, and not go, oh, then I'm going to believe that.
Right.
But I think of it in terms of, I'm not supporting this Jesus on the mountain. I'm actually pretty conflicted about it. Because, as you say, if we travel to Europe and there's a Jesus on a mountain, especially if it goes back 300 years, you don't want that torn down.
No, it's cute.
It's a landmark. It's
why we go to Europe,
right?
As American tourists, right? We don't want that shit torn down. So do we want stuff like that here?
Well, this is the question. I mean, or can we make space for stuff like that here? Is that okay?
Well, here's the deal. I kind of have this part of me that's always like, don't ruin other people's fun.
Mm-hmm.
And if the judge is kind of doing, it almost sounds like that's where he's coming from, which is there are people that enjoy it for its curiosity, and there are those who put it up because it meant something to them. And it's really not harming anybody. It's not like they built a church or a chapel or anything like that. It's just a little statue of Jesus. Now, I still object to it.
Yeah.
But I kind of want to go with the judge in a way.
I do too.
And I don't know why.
Well, I just think it's just... I
think the emotional side of me wants to go with the judge, but
right?
But the more reasonable,
the problem is that drawing the line becomes harder when we allow anything. Then we're asking ourselves to have to figure out how to draw this line.
Yeah.
If we allow nothing, then the line's drawn and it's easy.
Mm-hmm.
But I really kind of feel like we can let it be a little more complex than just that, because to me this is 1,000% different than seeing the Ten Commandments at a courthouse.
Mm-hmm.
It's completely different.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, but if you go skiing in Montana, be prepared. You might see Jesus.
Well, maybe we could draw circles around courthouses and just say, outside this radius,
courthouses, government buildings, all of those things.
Yeah. Anywhere that you'd have to enter to need a public service, right?
Or any Capitol
but it
buildings.
does make it weird
sort of
though. Ultimately, it would make it weird because to just say, well, yeah, federal land, put up, religious shit.
Yeah. I guess the other question is, how would the general populace who, if you take Joe Schmo who's in favor of Jesus on the mountain, and you introduce him to, Star and Crescent on the mountain, or that sort of thing. How would they respond to that?
Yeah, but the Muslims would never do that.
No. We need to start encouraging them to do that.
But it's like a violation. They don't do like icons or anything like that.
Well, they got
the closest you would get would be the crescent.
That's why I went with the crescent.
Or you could do a placard that says something written out in Arabic.
Right. Or yeah, it has it written out in Arabic and then
but
a
you wouldn't
translation
have like
in
a statue
English.
of Muhammad or
No, you're
some
right.
veneration of Allah or whatever.
Right.
You just wouldn't.
So let's just say there's a big
the charm factor is minimal.
Exactly.
From the,
and it's
from
the
Muslims.
So you're right. It's a problematic example, but the idea is it's a thought problem. What would they do?
Buddhist.
Right.
Buddhist shrines.
Yeah, but everybody uses Buddhism as just like home decoration now.
Oh, that's cute.
Buddha's just like he's not even a religious icon anymore. Now he's just like, I'm going to put him in my Zen garden in the backyard.
Uh-huh.
Are you a Buddhist? No, I just think he's cute. Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know if there is an equivalent, but we need to find that equivalent, and that will help us draw the line. The line can be drawn simply by finding something that would be repellent to the Christians and figure out where they draw their line, and then we can sort of find common ground.
Devil stuff.
Satan stuff. Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, Satan on the mountain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they'd like that.
No. I don't think they would.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
So where would you be okay with Satan stuff?
Yeah. No.
Yeah.
That's the test.
Yeah. Okay. You want the 10 Commandments as you walk into the courthouse.
Right.
Do you also want Satan's 10 Commandments?
Right.
Are you okay with that? No? We've got a line! Ta-da!
We figured it out. Wow, that's a major problem solved.
Yeah.
Thanks to us.
Right there.
TGIA.
Solving the
Thanks
world's
again.
problems one story at a time. What else can we do?
Well, it turns out that a San Diego judge. This is actually, again, a story that I'm kind of just doing follow-ups.
I like follow-ups.
Follow-ups always get my attention. But anyways, San Diego, the judge says public schools yoga instruction, not religious.
Aha! He agrees with us.
Yeah.
As I recall, when we reported on this, we said anyone who does yoga in America knows
Right.
that it's a fitness thing,
Right.
not a religious thing.
Just don't ring your stupid bell.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't ring the stupid bell. Don't say namaste.
Yeah, stop saying the asana stuff.
Yeah.
Just start using English words and you're fine.
Yeah. Oh, I'm doing a tree.
I'm downward facing dog.
Wow.
Ah,
Those are the two I know.
plank.
Plank. Okay.
I'm look at how religious my plank is. Look at this. I'm doing don't even say sun salutation if you want to keep it easy. If you want to stay on the windy side of it.
Yeah, say.
But come on.
I'm looking at the sky.
Right. I'm glad the
I'm
judge
breathing
ruled on
in.
this.
Opening my arms.
It's so funny because this kind of thing, even if this had been brought, because we got several letters from atheists saying, "No, that is religion, and we can't have religion in the schools," and blah blah blah.
It's not.
You got to draw a line again. Now we're drawing more lines, but the thing is, let's look at it. Is there any kind of dogma being offered?
No.
Is there any kind of moral system being offered?
Yeah. Here's the deal.
It's just keep looking. Just look at it.
Right. I noticed a while back that kids at school, will stand up and then sit down during the day, and then they'll have to stand up again, and then later on sit down. That's just like Mass.
It's just like Catholic Mass.
It's just like Mass. I don't.
Oh my God, they're doing Mass in schools.
We need to rid sitting up and standing down.
Somebody call
From
the
our schools.
furfuf.
Sitting up.
The furfuf.
Sitting down and standing up.
Yeah. How do you pronounce the abbreviation for Freedom from Religion Foundation? I like to say furfuf.
That works. Call for
Someone get me furfuf on the line. I see an injustice.
This is a job for the lawyers from
Or their superhero mascot, Furfuf Man.
Yeah.
I'll save you. Thank you, Furfuf Man.
And he flies in.
Well,
Yeah,
good.
so anyways, I think if you don't remember the story, I didn't really.
I guess we didn't recap it.
But anyways, a bunch of parents were upset in this school district about yoga, which would have actually like shown. They had shown that in this school district that teaching these kids at this elementary school yoga, just doing very simple poses, some breathing exercises, some whatever, some bending and stretching. They were more attentive and blah blah blah. Like performance went up just because they were like stretched out and more oxygenated, really.
Well, and they had a sort of meditative moment, so their brains had a chance to sort of collect themselves, get the wiggles out, as it were.
Yeah,
they're ready for school.
They are. It's good.
Yeah.
It's good.
You know, the truth of the matter is, if it is religious, if they could claim that it's religious, at least we have sort of verifiable evidence that that religion's working.
Yeah, that's true.
You don't see that for many religions.
Yeah. But not a lot of religions bend and stretch.
Right. It's the bendy, stretchy part. The kneely, prayy part doesn't do much.
Doesn't do a lot for you.
No.
No.
You might get
the meditative part has been shown.
Sure. I'm a fan of meditation.
Yeah.
I don't do it enough in my own life.
I know. It always feels a little weird. I have some like podcast meditative stuff that I downloaded. And so like ling-a-ling-a-ling, welcome to the meditation hour.
That's the worst part, is that it's always just so douchey.
I'm just like oh
meditation
God.
doesn't have to be like tingly music or like Eastern music.
Yeah. And it's like this husband-wife duo. And he like comes in, he's like, "Hi, I'm Bob." And she's like, "And I'm Jen."
And they're all breathy.
Uh-huh.
Now let the feelings in your body move away from your conscious mind.
Push them away and breathe in and breathe. Breathe in.
Breathe in the joys of the world and breathe out all of your troubles.
Oh.
Shut up.
Relax. Feel your feet relaxing. Relax your feet. Let them relax. Feel your ankles.
Okay, you're gonna put some of our listeners to sleep.
Yeah, there's also a warning at the beginning of this one that says, "Do not operate your car while listening to this podcast."
Let your hands slip from the steering wheel.
But it's like scientifically designed. Like you're supposed to do it with headphones because one ear will pulsate.
Oh God!
Against the other ear,
yeah.
And like it's like hypnotizing you.
That sounds horrible.
I actually really liked it.
Okay.
The few times I've done it, I've actually like the rest of the day was pretty stellar.
Like I said, I believe in meditation.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound nice to me, but maybe it is pleasant. I haven't given it a shot. But yoga, I've tried. I personally don't like yoga, but I think it's great for those who do. Mm-hmm. And I fully
and
support.
let these kids do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and let them do Jesus Christ too.
Don't let them do Jesus Christ.
Oh,
let
right.
them do yoga.
That's
and
right.
Let them say Jesus Christ.
Let them say, Jesus Christ, this yoga's working. Oh, hey, you remember when we were in Topeka, Kansas?
Boy, do I.
And we went to that there Westboro Baptist church.
Show do.
I mean, we didn't get to go into the Westboro
but we looked.
church, but we gave it a good scanning.
I mean, what's interesting about it is it's kind of nice to have like, even though we didn't get real exposure to it, just have like the place, have that memory of the place and know what it is.
Totally blew my mind.
It did.
That place blew my mind. Westboro is a lovely little neighborhood in Topeka.
It is.
It's
fantastic.
Adorable. Anywho, so these guys, as you know, Franklin, they don't like the gays.
I've heard.
They're very vocal about that.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, when we were there, they had, what did the sign say? Something about fag marriage.
Fag marriage, and they had both the American flag and the pride flag flying upside down above their church.
Right, indeed. Would you qualify? Would you qualify them as a hate group?
They're a hateful group for sure. Mm-hmm. What does it take to be a hate group?
It's a question. It's an interesting question, and one which the United States government, or at very least the president, doesn't really want to answer.
Interesting.
So you're aware of the We the People petitions? Mm-hmm. It's an online thing that Obama started, where anybody can sort of start a petition on the White House website.
Yeah,
and if it gets over 100,000 signatures in the space of 30 days. Then the White House is obliged to answer
on it. Yeah.
So, there have been 5 We the People petitions, which condemned the actions of the Westboro Baptist Church.
Oh, wow.
Or rather 5 that asked the Obama administration to categorize Westboro as a hate group and remove their nonprofit status.
Okay.
I think that sounds fair.
It does, but
they're pretty much a hate group.
I still want to know what does it take? What is the legal definition of what a hate group is?
Well, so here's what the White House said. Their response was basically to say that they were powerless to list the church as a hate group. Mm-hmm. They said that the federal government does not maintain a list of hate groups, instead leaving that task to private organizations such as the Anti-Defamation League and the Southern Poverty Law Center.
Right.
Well, both of those organizations have listed them as a hate group.
Well, then fine. If that's standard practice, I'm fine with it. Why do we need the White House to jump in on it?
Because they're not doing anything. Because these people still have their nonprofit status. And yeah, so yeah, this is the administration's basically taking a walk on this one. The 5 petitions received 674,000 total signatures. More than 413,000 supported listing Westboro as a hate group, and more than 260,000 asked the White House to revoke or investigate its tax exempt status. I mean, I think everybody can sort of agree that what they do, protesting at funerals of service people, and now I think they're going to go and protest at the funerals of the firefighters who were just killed in what was it, Arizona?
Yeah, in Prescott, Arizona. Yeah.
So yeah, they're that's not nice. They're not nice. They're kind of assholes about their religion and whatnot. But yeah, apparently there's some question as to whether or not they're a hate group, according to the Obama administration.
And this is very just like I'm barely poking around here, right?
Into the idea of a hate group,
into what a hate group is, yeah. And so I found a Wikipedia page that says, a hate group is an organized group or movement that advocates the practices or that advocates and practices hatred, hostility, or violence toward members of a race, ethnicity, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or the other designated sector of society, blah, blah, blah.
Ding, ding, ding. I think we have a winner.
But then it says, according to the United States Federal Bureau of Investigation, hate groups' primary purpose is to promote animosity, blah, 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 blah. And so I was like, ooh, are they defining hate groups, the FBI?
Yeah.
Because if so, would they be keeping a list? And so I'm nosing around on their website right now, and they have a picture of the Ku Klux Klan.
Which, they're not very nice.
They're not nice. They're definitely a hate group.
There should be
and then they have links.
They
have links to the Southern Poverty Law Center and the Anti-Defamation League and so forth and so on. So it seems like they're letting those groups keep those lists.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
I think somebody should start a nice group. A list of nice groups.
A love group.
Love groups. Hello. I'm sorry, but we've listed your organization on our list of love groups.
That's ridiculous.
What? How dare you? How dare you, sir?
Well, all right. Interesting.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I have another one. We're coming up on Ramadan.
Ramadan ding dong.
As we do every year.
But who knows when? Because it's like on the lunar calendar or something.
Yeah, it usually ends up being about a half a month earlier each year, I think, is what we figured out. Or
it just sort of moseys
3 weeks early or something.
Moseys around the calendar.
Yeah, because it's all screwy. But it's kind of cool because sometimes Ramadan's in the winter, sometimes it's in the summer,
right?
So you get all these different kinds of Ramadan.
And of course, Ramadan is the Muslim month of
holiday
fasting.
month of fasting. Yeah. And they love their Ramadan.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why. Because it sounds effing miserable. Just sounds awful. But anyways.
It just sounds silly. It's not like you're not eating. You're just torturing yourself for the productive part of the day.
And what they do, what's great about this, is that they will wake up before sunrise.
Right.
Have a big meal.
Yeah.
Right? and then suffer through the day, and then right as the sun goes down, just feast.
Right,
feast.
exactly. You should never ever celebrate Ramadan.
No,
because you get grumpy.
I would be hangry the entire month. And I would have to think that there are Muslims who would be hangry as well.
Yeah.
But anyways,
can you imagine like Uncle Grumpy? Like there would be all these people that you just sort of have to mostly avoid, or you can talk to them right in the morning. But like by 1 o'clock, you gotta like never talk to them.
Yeah,
or they'll just be mad at you.
Yeah. Well, it raises an interesting question: the occurrence of Ramadan and the U.S. Federal government when they are holding, Muslim prisoners who are on hunger strike at Guantanamo Bay.
Okay.
And they want to celebrate Ramadan, but they're force feeding them.
Oh. You have to force feed me only before sunrise and after sundown. It's my religion.
Yeah. Please let me starve to death.
Yeah.
On my hunger strike.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Look, I understand you can't let me starve to death completely, but my religion dictates.
Right.
You got to let me.
Right. And so what's actually that might be mildly misleading, might be a false characterization of what's really going on. But so prisoners at Guantanamo Bay are asking a federal court to halt the force feeding. Because of their hunger strike, right? So whatever. But they're really, I mean, yes, it's because Ramadan is coming up and all of that, but this has been going on for a few months now, this hunger strike. And it does raise another question, which is, well, basically what they're saying is can they force us to eat?
Yeah.
Right. And I know that, I don't know. It seems established that
we can.
That prisons do force you to eat. But
we're already doing
to go on hunger strike. But that's what they're saying, is that it's taking away some, basic
here's
human
a
right
question.
to starve to death. I don't know.
Does an IV count as eating?
They use nasal tubes. Oh, but I see what you're saying.
For Ramadan, can they jam it in their veins instead of down their throats?
I don't know. I don't think that they get much. You can't get tons of nutrition that way.
Right. I'm just saying, like, at least it sustains. I don't know. I'm trying to come up with compromising stuff here.
Yeah.
I don't know why. Why am I compromising with their religion? I don't care about their religion.
Yeah, I know. Because it's a silly thing.
But we can't. But here's the other thing. It's more than just do we acquiesce to their religion. It's we're making an international political statement. However we handle this question, makes an international political statement.
Right.
And we got to be, you got to tread lightly in situations like this.
Well, also because I don't like Guantanamo Bay.
No.
I think it should be shut down.
Yeah,
I think
absolutely.
those prisoners should be put into, the American justice system. I mean, that's my position.
Me too.
And I don't know all the ins and outs, and I don't fully, I'm sure there's stuff we're not privy to as to like why they would be kept there. But
there is nothing I'm not privy to.
but at the same time, like. That's my position. That's how I feel.
Mm-hmm.
And so already I have like these weird conflicted feelings about, their situation. But I don't think they should be allowed to starve to death. And quite frankly, what do you do? I think why not just force feed them in the middle of the night?
Yeah, you can totally do that.
Like that, I think that would be like the ultimate sort of just like, okay, well, we'll keep you alive after sundown.
Yeah, or you just force feed them and you just say, what they need to do? They need to get a Muslim cleric to announce a ruling that being force fed is not against the law because they can't help it, and then just keep force feeding them.
Because obviously that's their right to practice their religion is the issue here, right?
Well, yeah,
because I mean because apparently because they fall under the Geneva Convention. With this thing, because they're prisoners of war, I guess.
Supposedly is how they're being held. Ish. I mean, they've already sort of, I don't know.
It's so weird. That's what is also weird about it.
The important thing here is that we've encountered this question. Like, oh, look, we've run up against this. It's like, yeah, that's interesting. I love all of the food related religion-y things. It's clear. I mean, it's clear that these religions go back far enough that, like, I mean, what did you have to fuck with in a person's life? Their food.
Right.
That's like, I mean, if you're gonna, you got to fuck with people somehow,
right,
to get them sort of psychologically in line. So you mess with their food.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you tell them. Don't eat this. Do eat that. Eat 10 of those.
Right.
You know, Joseph Smith did it. He did a great job with it. It's just, you know.
Yeah, but this one is like crazy. And when it falls in the summer, it's a big deal. I mean, the Salt Lake Tribune had stories on it today in the newspaper. Like, you know, what are the local Muslims doing when with all this heat and, you know, the blah, 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 blah.
Oh, it is hot.
And long days.
Yeah.
Super long days.
Yeah, exactly. That's what sucks. Ha, 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 ha. You have to not eat on the longest days of the year.
Yeah. I would say you'd want to be a Muslim, you know.
I'm a winter Ramadan Muslim.
Well,
I practice Ramadan when it's in the winter.
You could be like some kind of snowbird equivalent.
Oh,
right?
okay. So you go down to the southern hemisphere.
Yeah. So you always have the short.
I like to visit McMurdo Station on the south in Antarctica for Ramadan when it's in the summer.
Yeah.
And Iceland when it's in the winter.
Yeah. Be nice. That's the way to beat the system.
Yeah.
If you're a Muslim.
Frankly, well, it's like the what Jewish rabbi said it. There was some Jewish rabbi that rather famously said, if God has provided a loophole, then it's not against God to exploit it. And that's how they justify all of their little devices that keep them from breaking the Shabbat, even though they're breaking the Shabbat and whatever.
Yeah, it's clever.
I don't roll on Shabbos.
What do Muslims in space do during Ramadan? Is it just like this series of sunrises and sunsets? They're just like, and then, sun's up.
No, it's great. They can eat all the time because they got like an hour of sundown and then an hour of sun.
Yeah, they get like 6 or 7 sunrises in a day, right?
Right, so they can eat. They're totally fine. Go to space. Space Muslims. And now it's time for Space Muslims.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey, speaking of space and aliens they're from.
Are you serious?
Yes.
That's where we're going?
Superman.
Oh, God. I thought you were going elsewhere.
No, we're going to Krypton. No, we're going to Earth with a kid from Krypton. Oh. You know, because of Superman.
Yeah.
So the new Superman movie came out, and we didn't report on this. I had intended to do this story, but there was a whole thing. I mean, it is crazy Jesus-y, this movie. I haven't seen it, so neither of us can really speak about what we saw. But I've heard reports all about, like, you know, him flying in like through a thing in the cross position.
Oh, rather than his arms out
his arms are supposed to be out in front of him.
That's how he flies,
right? But
can he fly with his arms to the side?
Apparently.
I didn't know that was possible.
You think his power of flight is based
on his arms being out in front of him?
Because how does his flight power know where to go if they're not following his hands?
I don't know.
Anywho, so yeah, there's that, and then there was a thing where he's confessing, or he's talking to a priest, and he's got big image of Jesus in a red cape behind him, and they went they went fairly obvious with this one.
Wow.
Old Zacky Snyder apparently is very into the whole Jesus equals Superman issue.
Okay.
To the point where the studio actually went out of their way to create sermon notes that they disseminated to the pastors of our country.
Really?
So that the pastors could, if they wanted to, do a Superman sermon.
To promote their movie.
How fucking genius is that?
Yeah.
It's like free publicity. And even
also
if
gross.
Yeah, it's totally gross. Of course it's disgusting. Let's exploit people's religion. I mean, but, you know, hey,
Might as well.
Might as well.
They exploit their religion for their own purposes anyway.
Right.
So
you might as well
exploit it for them.
Yeah, exploit their religion to get money.
Well, I'm going to say a sentence I've never said before in my life.
Okay.
Last night I was watching Leno, and
all right, continue.
Anyways, Superman was on.
The guy,
the actor.
Okay.
Yeah. He is one fantastic looking young man.
Oh, he's a dish.
Holy cow.
Oh yeah.
Where do you find that?
That
doesn't occur in nature.
In England somewhere, apparently.
National healthcare system.
National, you're gonna give them the credit. I'm not sure.
Healthy people.
Yeah, he's a good looking fella, and I'll bet with that English accent, he's even sexier.
Yeah, it sounded a little. I don't know what it is. Maybe I've been watching too many like British programs lately that I'm just gotten used to British accents. But it sounded not fully.
A little transatlantic.
It sounded a little, yeah. It sounded like he's been in the U.S. a while or something. I don't know. Maybe
there you go.
Maybe I was imagining things.
Anyway, yeah, he's a sexy guy. So there's some new news. That was the old news about.
There's
this.
new. Oh,
well, it's not news, but apparently a bunch of Christian-y people are lashing back against this notion
because they thought it was Jewish.
Well,
he thought that it was Superman.
No, he was Jewish. He was created to be
clearly Jewish.
But no, their objections are more that he's not like Jesus. Even though there are moments in the movie apparently where his earthly dad says you were sent here for a reason, sort of things. All these things to save mankind.
To die for us on a cross.
Yeah.
Isn't that a line?
Yes, exactly. That is the line. Except when they tried to hammer in the nails, the nails all just bent.
Clink.
Well, this isn't going to work at all.
Oh.
We can't crucify this guy. And then they managed somehow to use kryptonite to drive the nails through, and then he just flies away with the cross.
Yeah.
Airplane style.
Yeah.
Anyway, for one of these objectors to this notion was Reverend Thomas Reese. He's a Jesuit priest. He said not only is Superman not like Jesus, he is in fact, quote, the Antichrist.
Jesus Christ.
No, he's the Antichrist.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah, he says
you have to take it there.
After he saw the movie, he tweeted, "Superpowers, not love, conquers evil. Bash the bad guy, don't turn cheek."
Oh, wow. He's right.
Well, yeah.
He's right. I mean, I agree with him, actually.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't seem very Jesus-y to me. First of all, Jesus walks on water. That's great and all, but can you fly?
Yeah, Jesus never flew.
I don't never heard about him flying. I mean, he helped guys find fish.
There's a lot we don't know about Jesus.
There's
like all those years in Egypt.
Yeah,
he was flying when he was in Egypt.
he was all over the place.
Yeah. And
now how did he come to the Mormon continent? He kind of descended from heaven, huh?
He flew.
He flew.
Well, he ended up going back up. So yeah, he can fly.
Jesus, but that was after his death.
Yeah. And that flying gesture was with his hands down to his side,
according to
with palms facing
whatever
out.
painting,
Freiberg or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, so I think Jesus can fly, but does he have laser eyes?
Isn't that a song?
Not Betty Davis eyes. Oh my God. Anyway, there we go.
Okay.
This is a job for Jesus.
Eyes.
I want to see Jesus, some guy that's just dressed normal, run into a phone booth and come whipping out in a robe
as Jesus
and sandals.
Yeah.
And then just stop and go, "I love you, my people." Yeah.
Yep. Actually, I will say this, because I was flipping channels last night. David Letterman, the top 10, he did make a good point The top 10 list was horrible. It wasn't funny at all. David Letterman is no longer funny, actually.
Yeah.
And it's been a while, but he's definitely not funny. But the top 10 made the point of the fact that where, like, you know, phone booths? Really?
Yeah.
Where is he changing now?
Yeah. Where indeed.
Yeah.
He has to find he just has to duck behind something.
Yeah, but that's so important.
Dumpsters. I want him to jump into dumpsters and change. Superman now changes in a dumpster.
Those coin-operated public toilets?
Yeah, sure.
Do they have those in New York?
No, I don't. No? Not that I've ever seen.
Okay.
All over Europe, though. So if he visits Europe,
then he could do it there.
Right.
Yeah.
And Metropolis is its own city. We don't know.
Oh, that's true.
What they have in
Maybe
Metropolis.
they still have phone booths.
Maybe they still have phone booths.
They have little booths for people to step in with their cell phone,
what,
which is I wish that actually existed.
A little cell phone.
A little
isolation chamber.
Isolation chamber. Yeah.
There you go.
That's what I want.
No, Metropolis the coverage is just awful there. You need phone booths.
Yeah.
Because you just can't get a signal.
Yeah. It's Rose Park, you mean?
Yeah. Amen to that. That's where we live, everybody. We don't get good coverage here.
No, you don't. It depends on where I'm laying in my bed.
Yeah.
That's how bad it is.
Yeah.
All right. Facebook.com/TGIAtheist is a great way to follow us during the week.
Mm-hmm. If we happen to write anything on there.
Yeah, other people do.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a conversation occurring.
Yeah.
That's the message there. Also, every now and then we just post a thing, and then it's like, hey, look what you get to see. This thing we posted.
Pretty cool.
Or you can write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442. We're going to take a quick little break.
Yeah.
And we're going to watch a fun little video.
Well, listen to.
Listen, sorry.
You can watch it. Yeah. Our audience at home can listen.
Yeah, sorry. But what this is, just to set this up, we don't really know who this man is. We do. I mean, you do because the title of the thing, but I'm not going to tell you.
But who the hell cares?
Who the hell cares who he is? He's a preacher in a really nice suit, standing at a fairly nice podium in the front of some big church.
Yep.
Son, don't go to sleep while I'm talking. Hey, don't you lay your head back. I'm important. I'm somebody. Now, you might do your English teacher that way, but I'm not teaching English. I'm teaching eternal life here. I love you. You know I love you. Have I convinced you I love you? Yeah. You better nod your head yes. All right. Come on, put it right there. All right. You stay awake and you listen to me. You say, well, he may never come back. Well, he ain't here now. And where have you been, Mr. Underwood? And I noticed on the calendar I'm supposed to marry y'all. What makes you think I'd marry you? You're one of the sorriest church members I have. You're not worth 15 cents. And you want me to marry you to her? And you want to marry him? And he don't even know where he belongs? And you don't even know where you belong? Now, let me tell y'all, everybody here, how much I love these kids. Do you know I love you, sir? Stand up, big boy. Do you know I love you? All right. All right. Give me a little love. I'm the real deal. All right. I know you are too, but you ain't been here. You can't get this in any other church in town. Are y'all keeping the camera on me back there in the little video room? Good. We're having trouble in the video room. There's no one finer than young Cox back there. And he comes down here and spends hours in that thing. But he has a little attitude adjustment that we're going to fix. Brother Cox, you listening? Because, Brother Cox, I can fix your attitude adjustment. And I don't care what your mama thinks and your daddy thinks. And I don't have a better friend than your mama. But, Mama, you get out of my way when I'm messing with that boy, because I'm his preacher. I'm yours when I'm talking to you. But I'm his when I'm talking to him. And last I checked, he's a grown man. And that video room ain't going to be a youth hangout. We might as well just fix this thing. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Well, if you don't know what you're doing wrong, son, you don't care about what I want to do right. Because if you loved me and you submitted to me, you'd know what my heart is and my message is, and you wouldn't go about establishing your own kingdom in the video room.
Wow.
He's a lunatic.
There is trouble in heaven. Trouble in paradise. Or rather, in the video room. I got trouble in the video room. Oh, my good Lord. That's
This guy kills me. Like,
wow. Are pastors like that?
I don't know.
I mean, it's clear. The thing is that a pastor, unlike, in the religion that you and I were raised in mainstream Mormonism, there is an issue with
confrontation.
Well, there's an issue with confrontation, but also, you know that the guy at the head of your congregation he's not getting the paycheck for what he does. He doesn't feel the pressure to make his living doing this.
Right.
He's a layperson who's been called by the higher ups to take care of you. So, like, there was never any sense in Mormonism of, we could fire this guy.
Oh, right.
Or I should leave this parish. Right. You know, like, it's not as, he's going to be gone later.
Right.
And you know that you don't leave because he's just one dude in this larger and much, much larger structure.
Right.
So, like, maybe you complain or something, to the...
But this guy... Somebody over the pulpit chewing out a Mormon congregation doesn't really happen.
No, that would never happen.
They don't do it. They don't. I mean, the level of discomfort, the body, the posture that would come to everybody in the whole place. Super, super tight crossed arms.
Everybody
knees super close together.
Right.
Shoulders shrugged up and just like starting to bend forward and look at the ground. Like, it would just be a mess.
All the babies would start to cry.
Yeah. Because the parents pinched them, so they didn't leave them.
Right, yeah. It's so yeah, I mean, but to me, what's astounding about that clip is what it points out to me is that this is this man's job, and he's going to lose his livelihood if he doesn't keep, like, control over these people. Yeah.
And so he's up there. Now, again, fire and brimstone is a very, like, foreign concept to a couple Mormons.
Right.
And so but in the whole Baptist thing, this was Southern Baptist. I know it's not foreign, but I don't know how it works. Right. Like, I don't know if he's just like calling his congregation to repentance or whatever. If he's calling them back somehow. And this is like, I don't know if he's using some forms here that they would recognize, or is he just legitimately having a hissy fit?
I think he's just going nutso.
The kid back in the video booth was pissed off enough at him that he posted the video on YouTube.
Yeah, exactly. Not just to the congregation's channel, but to like his personal channel of like, fuck you, pastor.
I'm going to take my video talents elsewhere.
Exactly.
I'm going to take it down to First Methodist.
I will create my own kingdom in the video room. Asshole.
And don't tell me I won't.
Oh boy. Well, we have some emails. Various and sundry folks have written to us, and I wanted to mention them.
Let's hear it.
So we've got this email from Ron.
Okay.
Ron is he also bought us drinks.
Oh, thank you, Ron.
Yeah, that was really sweet of him.
Yeah.
He wrote and he said, so he mentioned that we asked on episode 83. We essentially asked what are we as an atheist movement trying to do? Are we trying to get rid of religion, make things right for everybody? So he said he suggested that we might want to gather the mission statements of secular groups together and look for what sort of consensus we could find.
Okay,
I thought that was a very interesting approach to answering that question, or at least to beginning an answer for that question. See what everybody's doing.
Okay.
But I didn't do it.
No,
I didn't actually go out and seek anything yet.
Well, seek it out. Somebody might have already done that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. Oh, and he did actually, and then he sent us another email that just happened to have the Wikipedia list of secularist organizations.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So that's out there. It's not a bad idea. Maybe we should look into that. I was just too lazy to actually do it.
Yeah. Okay.
But thank you, Ron, for
great idea
for that.
Thank you.
We also got a donation from Mark, who gave us a one-time donation. That was very sweet of you. Thank you, Mark. And donations also from Megan.
Oh, thank you, Megan.
Who also did a one-time donation.
Very nice.
So, and then an email. Oh, and Sean became a monthly subscriber.
Oh, excellent. Thank you, Sean.
So that's awesome. As did, I'm finding all of these things. I need to organize myself better. I apologize, everyone. But also Richard is a new monthly subscriber.
Thank you, Richard.
So hooray for you guys. This all goes a long way towards helping us continue this.
Indeed.
Not just monetarily, but it makes us feel like we're valued and then we want to do it more.
Well, yeah, I mean, we really haven't seen any of the money.
Oh, no, right. The money doesn't come to us. It just goes to our expenses.
Yeah.
But it's nice that people are sharing that burden.
And it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
Awesome. So I wanted to read a thing from David, who wrote, "Hey guys, I was listening to your conversation with Noah on the June 28th episode, and I must say that it was wonderful. I thought so too. I really enjoyed our conversation.
It was a nice conversation.
He thought he'd chime in. He said, the mistake that we make when we engage theists in debate is that we often launch into telling them that they are wrong. This doesn't get you anywhere, and they shut you out almost immediately. I find that if you casually mention the fact that you're an atheist and then allow them time to let the shock wear off, they will usually become curious and ask questions. At this point, he advises avoid their beliefs completely and just explain yours and why it works for you. I find this works even where I am in rural Arkansas."
Well, all right. Yeah.
I think so. Yeah. I think that's a great approach.
Great approach.
It's there's still something subversive just about saying I'm an atheist.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you can, especially in a place that's really conservative, say a rural Arkansas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just saying it, I think, will be. I mean, it's a double-edged sword because people might not ask you about it. They might just write you off as Satanist and leave it at that. But some people will get curious, and they'll know that they can come to you with questions.
All right.
However, they won't know that if you're grumpy at them.
Right.
Yeah, I'm an atheist, jerk. Don't say bless you when I sneeze. I don't believe in that. Yeah. So yeah, I thought that was good. Thanks, David. Brian wrote to us, said he just found the podcast and is enjoying it a lot so far. Cool. Well, I certainly hope so. We're putting plenty of work into it.
Indeed.
Yeah, right. Like, I say that right after I say, sorry that I didn't actually look up the thing that I was going to say.
Yeah, Dan.
Yeah. Anyway.
Get some work done.
He says he especially finds it interesting how similar a Mormon upbringing is to a Jehovah's Witness upbringing. He wasn't allowed to associate with any non-witnesses growing up, so pretty much the only people he could be friends with were the other half dozen kids his age at the local Kingdom Hall, which is the J-Dub church.
Right.
And a few kids that he got along with at school. So he says he left at age 25, and he thought we'd enjoy his interaction, the interaction that occurred with his mom when she met his wife, then fiance for the first time.
Okay.
He says, quote, "When I told my mother that I was getting married, her reaction was what most people would have upon hearing that someone had died. She responded with a listful, 'Oh,' and then immediately asked, 'Do you have any inclination to come back to the Jehovah's organization?' I told her no, and she said, 'Oh, okay,' and we ended the conversation."
Dear God.
Yeah, that's not very nice.
No.
And then fast forward a few weeks later, we're at a restaurant, and my mother meets my fiancé for the first time. All my wife knows about Jehovah's Witnesses is what I've told her so far, so I decided to use this occasion as a teachable moment. Sure enough, within 5 minutes, my mother is steering the conversation toward religion, and I let her. I decided to let the crazy speak for itself, and boy, did it. The first thing she said was that she was surprised we were getting married because most people just live together. Then she launched into a lecture about how she loves me, but she loves God Jehovah more, and if she were on Noah's Ark and saw me outside, she wouldn't run outside to get me.
Dear God.
After we left the restaurant, my wife turned to me and said, when we have kids, we're not going to allow your parents to be alone with them.
No kidding.
Anyway.
Holy cow. That's, I mean, it doesn't surprise me, but it's like,
it's rough.
That's some serious shit.
It's, chalk that up to reason number, 789, why religion can be hurtful in a family.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Brian, for that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing.
He also offered some guidance if we ever want to do a J-Dub show.
Ooh, we'll have to take him up on that.
Yeah, we should. You know what? I'm just going to say it. I'm going to say, Brian, email us some stuff about the J-Dubs.
Yeah.
Good. I'll leave it to you to determine what you think are the salient points, but send it in. And any other J-Dubs, I'm calling out.
Yeah.
All of you just send in your experiences, and we'll do a J-Dub show.
Yeah. All right. Cool.
Yeah. So we got some voicemails.
Yes, we did. I'm just going to go ahead and play the first one.
Okay.
Hey, Frank and Dan. Adam from Las Vegas. Just wanted to chime in on what the scathing atheist had to say, and I actually couldn't disagree with him more, and I actually agree with you guys. The problem with the monument is that what you're doing is you're defining your opposition by being their opposition. So when you're talking about a group that's faith is based on persecution and salvation, I think one of the worst things you can do is show them that we are an out group and you are outside of our group and vice versa, and therefore we help define what you believe by being against you. I also don't think that the front of a courthouse is a place for, theological dick waving. I think, your idea of a monument expressing the importance of separation of church and state is the perfect solution, because it shows that it isn't the place for theological dick waving. That's not what we are about. So just wanted to chime in. I don't like that attitude that, they don't understand, so you got to give them more, and just be in their face with everybody else. And the problem is all that does is, temper their resolve and make sure that they understand that now we are two separate groups that are at each other's throats. So that's it. Just wanted to chime in on that, and love your show. Bye.
Cool. Some great points, Adam.
Really good. Love it.
Yeah. Thanks.
And I think the phrase theological dick waving needs to be enshrined in the pantheon of great phrases.
Yeah, exactly.
Love it.
All right. And then we have another email as well, or voicemail, and I'll go ahead and play that one. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Frank and Dan, this is Tom from Colorado, and we're driving cross country to California, and I picked up a Deseret News. It's so much fun. I just wanted to say hi. See ya, bye.
I love that.
Deseret News, for those of you who may not remember, is the Mormon-owned
daily newspaper
here in the greater Salt Lake area.
Yep.
And it is kind of cute.
Fortunately, though, we are still one of the rare two-paper towns.
We are.
And we have a secular newspaper as well.
Such as it is.
I take it, and, it's nice. It's okay. It's not what it used to be.
No.
The Tribune used to be a good newspaper.
Well, and they're like all papers, they're laying people off left and right. Yeah. They don't know what who knows what it's going to look like eventually.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would just want to go through a couple of quick other emails. Thought we'd break it up a bit, but there's an email from Christine. It says, "Hey guys, want to chime in about the story you repeated about how Christians having happy tweets." You remember this, Frank? We talked about a study that showed that Christian tweets use happy words, and atheist tweets use grumpy words. And she says what the data collectors failed to account for was how Christians tend to hate tweet using nice words like love, pray, and etc. For example, Rick Ferry's Rick Perry. I
like Rick Ferry.
That's kind of fun. Rick Perry's hateful tweet about the Boy Scouts. Pray that the Boy Scouts of America stay strong and true to their traditional values. Yeah. If we were to, quote, word cloud that, it doesn't sound so bad. But in spirit, it's fucking hateful.
Yeah. That's fantastic. That's an excellent point.
Yeah, it is. She also used she also spelled fucking F***king, Which, it's okay. You can write the word out
Well,
to us.
your spam filter might.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah,
Well,
unless you've said that it can.
Yeah, I've pretty much allowed all things
Sure.
to come through.
But that's actually a good precaution to take when emailing someone.
You're
you don't
right.
know.
You're right. That's smart. So I just thought that was a great point made by Christine. Mike wrote to us. His email's a little too long to get through all the stuff, but it was nice to hear from you, Mike. Thanks. I just wanted to shout out to you. And Stacia also wrote to us. She made some good points as well, but again, also a very long email. I wanted to touch on one of the things she said. She said, because hers was mostly in reference to us talking about the monument and sort of what we want the atheist movement to become and all of that sort of thing. And she said she wanted to talk about the question, how do we create a community? And she said one of the best parts about being an atheist is that we identify ourselves by our interests and passions. So we may not have the same kind of common ground to connect to each other without the, quote, blind glue of Jesus that makes people tolerate each other that otherwise would never choose to spend 1 second with the people in their religious community. So she asks, as atheists, do we create a community based on who we aren't? Does that actually make sense? How do you reasonably expect to draw people to come together as a community without a true common link?
Yeah. It's a good point. It's something I think we all kind of wrestle with.
Yeah, absolutely.
Those
I know.
that advocate.
I mean, because you and I didn't do may take any steps to like be a part of the atheist community or the atheist movement in the early days of our podcast.
Well, no, but I mean, I think it all goes back to the fact that we're, like, for me personally, I never felt the need to seek out other atheists because everybody I knew was atheist.
Well, that's true.
I didn't need to go to, like, the Salt Lake chapter of whatever to find a support group and make new friends and whatnot, because for whatever reason, our social group
has a lot of,
no matter which direction you kind of branch out into it.
Yeah, we've got a lot of
it's just atheists everywhere, or agnostics, or people who are just non-believers or believers but not practicing and very casual about it.
But here's something I would say to Stacia and to you. One thing that I have found is that a lot of my atheist friends don't care about, like, sort of the political stuff that you and I care about.
That's true.
Don't care about a lot of the issues that we see out there in the world. And so, I feel like they're like a community of like-minded people in that respect. People who care a lot about the political ramifications of having a 10 Commandments outside of a courthouse and care a lot about that sort of thing.
But
that's a community.
That is a community. But like you just said, that's not going to be a community that appeals to everyone who is atheist.
Right.
And so it might be interesting, I don't know, maybe there should be, like, some, and there probably are somewhere, but like atheist knitting groups, and atheist coin collectors and atheist whatevers, right?
Numismatists without God.
Yeah. The humanist numismatist.
Oh my God. Humanist numismatist. Yeah, say that 10 times.
Know, it's difficult.
And if you can, then you get in. Then you're automatic.
The atheist philatelists.
They'll waive your dues if you can say it 10 times.
But anyways, maybe we need to have a few of those started up. Atheist cooking groups, atheist canning groups, atheist gardeners. Just because she is right that we're going to do a lot better in tying groups together based on what you like to do.
Common interests.
And so, like, and wouldn't it be nice if the people that you found at your Rose Gardeners group also sort of saw the world and understood the world the same way, and you didn't have to, like, worry about, God discussions seeping their way in.
Mommy groups.
And then whenever, like, something truly important political does come up, these groups could all be networked.
Right. They band together. Yeah. We're all. And
that probably does exist somewhere. It would take some looking into.
which we've
I
already
would
established.
guess
we're far
if
too
anywhere
lazy
has
to do.
anything like that, it would be like Kansas. Those
Indeed.
people they've got it figured out.
Or Oklahoma.
Yeah, they seem organized.
They seem
or
to-
Houston, the Houston atheists.
Houston or Austin.
Yeah.
They both have big
Yeah.
atheist communities and stuff. They, yeah. Who knows?
Yeah.
Put it together, and we will support you. We won't put it together ourselves, though.
No, dear God, no.
So,
Atheist filmmakers.
sure.
You know?
Atheist filmmakers of America.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't be that big of a group.
I don't know.
Snyder wouldn't be in it. That's for damn sure.
Yeah, but we'd be in it.
That's true. Anyway, how about this? Atheist celebrants of the 4th of July.
Uh-oh.
Dun, 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 dun,
Everybody
dun,
knows
dun,
it's
dun,
actually a
dun,
religious
dun.
holiday. Dan. And the way that I know that it's a religious holiday
Yeah.
is because I was thumbing through the Tribune. And on the back page of one of the sections, I don't remember which one it was, there was this huge full-page ad.
Oh?
As, full-page ads tend to be huge.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, and it says in big Helvetica letters in the middle, "In God We Trust."
Oh.
And then surrounding it are all these little sections. You have like the President's section, and the Founding Fathers section, Supreme Court Justices, and it has all these quotes in each one of those sections from sort of prominent like presidents. So you have like
Right.
George Washington and John Adams and John Quincy Adams and
All of those really...
Founding Fathers. You have Patrick Henry and Benjamin Franklin and all these guys who have all these things to say about God
Mm-hmm.
being a part of this country and
Oh,
how it
yeah.
actually is a Christian country and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And of course, this is just kind of beside the point. It's not where we're going with it, but I did notice that at the bottom of it says Hobby Lobby. It's the website is hobbylobby.com/ministry projects.
Mm.
So anyways, they're up to something over there at the Hobby Lobby.
Ministering.
They're not just making crafts.
No.
And
And they're not just
some tacky frames.
supplying the world with horrible little stamp cutouts for your scrapbooking.
Well, those aren't horrible.
Some of them are bad. Some of them are great.
Yeah.
I got one that's a little foot. It
Oh, that's
just
cute.
cuts out a little hole that looks like a little
Yeah.
baby's foot.
Oh, scrapbook.
So cute.
So much fun.
It was so cute. I like the little pinking shears. I do some borders and stuff.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I really always go for sort of these very three-dimensionality, or three-dimensional
Oh,
designs. It's
Puffy.
super important. Oh yeah.
Yeah. You want to feel like it's jumping off
when
the
you
page.
open that page, you want layers and textures. It's really, really important so
Although-
that you can just get that picture looking great.
Noticing,
right there in the middle.
finding now that I know that Hobby Lobby's all Jesus-y and shit,
Mhm.
it kind of makes me want to do scrapbooking, but just scrapbook atheist stuff or
Yeah, you
scrapbook stuff that they wouldn't want me to, and then send them the pages in like, hey, look,
Like, look what I did for your fucking pinking shears.
yeah, or look at how great this page looks,
Mhm.
and make it exactly the kind of thing that they would
Yeah,
want,
yeah.
but then the
But
the
it's all
message,
I hate God.
right? Exactly. Yes, I hate the guy I don't believe exists.
So anyways, I sat there and at first I was very dismissive of this thing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, you know what though? I should read these quotes. I mean, come on. What am I going to find here? Some quotes that totally contradict things that I've seen Thomas Jefferson say in other settings?
Right.
What's going to happen? Well, it brings up this interesting point, which is you can pick any quote you want.
You can pick
know.
it. Yeah. Well, see, here's
You
the
can
thing.
find a way to make our founding fathers say that this country was founded on Christian principles, or you can find ways
to say that
it's not.
they were all
Yeah.
deists.
Yeah.
Which most atheists use as a stand-in for. Oh no, they didn't believe in God,
Right.
which is bullshit.
Right.
They all talked about believing in God.
Right.
But what's great is that both sides do the same trick, which is they pick. You're right. They cherry pick out the quotes that they like,
Yeah.
and then they not only do they ignore all the rest of the quotations,
Right.
but they they hear about the other quotations and then make them mean something that they don't mean.
Right.
So, like, read us some of the things
let me pull that
are
up
on the Hobby Lobby.
I'll read the very, very first one. This is from George Washington. It is the duty of all nations to acknowledge the providence of Almighty God, to obey his will, to be grateful for his benefits, and humbly implore his protection and favor. It's pretty clear what he's saying there.
Yeah. Except that, no, he didn't believe in God. He was just saying that to pacify the masses.
Sure. Okay. That's what the
atheists would say.
That one. John Adams, who we know what John Adams was. We have no government armed with. Is that what it says? We have no government armed with power capable of contending with human passions unbridled by morality and religion. Our Constitution was made only for a moral and religious people. It is wholly inadequate to be. It is wholly inadequate to the government of any other. Any other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
Interesting.
Yeah. He throws the word religion in there. You could easily take the word religion out of there.
Sure.
And it would just be a morality, and then that would work too. But he says it.
But what's interesting, and what we need to remember, is that these groups, they're trying to tear down this wall of separation of church and state.
Right.
In this country. And
they're justifying it using these quotes.
Exactly. And there have been points in our history that they've done when they've been very nicely inserted into the system. And then we've pushed back, and now they're pushing back again. And so it's like, this is
so somebody trots out that John Adams quote, and then somebody from the other side has to trot out the John Adams quote from the treaty, or the quote from the Treaty of Tripoli, which was signed by John Adams, which says the government of the United States of America is not in any sense founded on the Christian religion.
Right. This is confusing.
It's hard.
It's terrible.
What are we going to do?
It's just awful.
That's what we should do. We should just do a back and forth. You give me a Thomas Jefferson, I'll give you a Thomas Jefferson. We'll have the great debate using these guys against themselves.
Okay, let me find.
Or just pick anybody. I'm sure I'll be able to find something.
Okay, let's do. Okay, I've got a John Quincy Adams here.
Okay, cool.
Is it not that in the chain of human events, the birthday of the nation is indissolubly linked with the birthday of the Savior? That it forms a leading event in the progress of the great dispensation? Is it not that the Declaration of Independence first organized the social compact on the foundation of the Redeemer's mission upon earth? That it laid the cornerstone of human government upon the first precepts of Christianity? Interesting.
That is interesting. I don't think I have a John Quincy quote lined up on deck. I was looking.
Boom. Okay.
You
Score
got
one
me
for the Christians.
You got me on that one. Hang on. I'm going to keep looking, though.
Okay. You want another one?
Yeah, do another one.
Benjamin Franklin one. This one will be fairly easy for you.
Yeah.
I've lived, sir, a long time, and the longer I live, the more convincing proofs I see of this truth, that God governs in the affairs of men. If a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his notice, is it probable that an empire can rise without his aid? We've been assured in the sacred writings that unless the Lord builds the house, they labor in vain who build it. I firmly believe this. And I also believe that without his conjuring aid, we shall succeed in this political building no better than the builders of Babel.
Ooh. That was fiery.
Yeah.
I'm going to fire back with a shorter quotation from Benjamin Franklin. The way to see by faith is to shut the eye of reason.
I like it.
There you go.
I like it.
All right. Here, I'm going to throw one at you and see what you can come back at me with.
Okay.
Do you have a let's see, a Thomas Jefferson on deck?
I'll go on.
Okay. Here's Thomas Jefferson. I have examined all the known superstitions of the world, and I do not find in our particular superstition of Christianity one redeeming feature. They are all alike founded on fables and mythology.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Let me work here. I wasn't really looking for this. Okay. Let me look. Okay, no, not that one.
TJ was kind of more on our side. He liked to do things like cut up the Bible and take out all of the magic parts and stuff.
Okay, yeah. That one's no good.
Okay. Let's okay, so chalk one up for me then.
Yeah, you get one.
All right, so that's 1 point each.
Uh-oh.
We're 1-1. All right, throw one out.
Okay. Well, this is still coming from that thing. So this is John Jay. He was a co-author of the Federalist Papers and the first Chief Justice of the U.S. Supreme Court.
Oh, shoot. Do I have to find another John Jay, or can I find an equivalent?
A Supreme Court Justice, sure. Does that work?
Yeah, okay.
The Bible is the best of all books, for it is the Word of God and teaches us the way to be happy in this world and in the next. Continue, therefore, to read it and to regulate your life by its precepts. Providence has given to our people the choice of their rulers, and it is the duty, as well as the privilege and interest of our Christian nation, to select and prefer Christians for their rulers. Ooh.
Yeah, so, something tells me he's more in the Scalia camp of the court. I'm not sure I'm going to find anything right off the bat on that.
But nonetheless, this whole discussion.
Here you go. Those who own the country ought to govern it. That's by John Jay.
Oh, cool.
That's sort of it's not really anti-religious, but it's like
You could twist it.
you could make that say,
Yeah.
Jesus doesn't govern our country.
People.
Those who own it.
People. Okay. But I mean, it's a useless game. This quoting
is.
the founding fathers to try to prop up your position. My reaction usually is just, who cares?
Uh-huh.
Who the fuck cares what this guy 250 years ago or 200 years ago had to say about it? We're talking about now. We're talking about the realities of our existence today.
Yeah.
Today.
It is a different era.
Years ago.
It is a different era.
It makes
I
no
think it is
sense.
instructive to look at because it's easy to assume that everybody back in the 1770s was religious, because you kind of had to be. But the fact of the matter is that there are plenty of quotes out there from, very famous statesmen that are like sort of counter to religion.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're right. That doesn't prove our points at all, because it's not what we're about. But what it does show is sort of what the intention was when they founded this country, which wasn't what the right claims, what the religious right likes to claim.
Their intention was separation of church and state. They could be religious on their own terms,
right?
And that was the whole point. A lot of these men, they, like you're saying, they were religious.
Yeah,
they did believe in God.
Of course, they did.
There was a full spectrum of
right.
Like it was a normal group of human beings. Some of them were going to be fervent believers, and some of them were going to be fervent deniers.
Exactly.
And in the middle, there's a whole bunch that are whatever. And so, like, it just, yeah.
So it makes sense then that people who were descended from a group of people who left England specifically to get away from government telling them how they had to practice religion.
Right.
It makes sense that they would want to make sure that there was a clear line between one and the other.
Yeah. And that's the thing that we have to work to preserve.
Right.
Is that line, that wall between church and state.
Right. And anyone
as
who
long
wants
as we
to
do that,
who cares what label we apply to these guys?
Yeah.
Deists. They were atheists. They were this. They were that.
Yeah.
Who the fuck cares?
That's the important value. That's the important takeaway.
Right.
I think is, I think if people start coming at you with, who believed what and blah, 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 the wrong approach is to do what we were just doing.
Which is,
Yeah. Find an awesome quote that's like, Thomas Jefferson saying something like, in every country and in every age, the priest has been, well, maybe not this one. The priest has been hostile to liberty. He is always in alliance with the despot, abetting his abuses and in return for protection to his own. It is error alone that needs the support of government.
Yeah.
Truth can stand by itself.
That's an interesting quote.
You know, or something.
I got one from Susan B. Anthony that I really like. I distrust those people who know so well what God wants them to do because I notice it always coincides with their own desires.
Yeah, I love that quote.
That's a great quote.
Thomas Jefferson, I am for freedom of religion and against all maneuvers to bring about a legal ascendancy of one sect over another.
Yeah. Who is that?
Thomas Jefferson.
Yeah. I mean, the whole idea here is that I want to celebrate a country that was founded with plurality in mind.
Exactly.
I want to celebrate. I feel patriotic to this country when I think about how broad our brush is, how many people are welcome into this fold, even though it complicates all of the questions, even though it makes it impossible to have certain discussions.
Right.
That's fine. That's what's great about this country. And every time you look at countries that are having the most problems in the world, the craziest, wackiest, like real, genuine, like awful stuff that's happening, you don't have that plurality.
Right.
You know, you look at like Afghanistan, and it's not, you know, their inability, you know, the Taliban's inability to embrace plurality is the problem. You know what I mean? That's the issue. It's not even necessarily the religion thing. The religion thing's almost ancillary to the fact but it, you know, it becomes this thing of like everybody has to be like us. We get to control everybody. So I celebrate that. I celebrate that our government is not supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Hooray.
Yeah. It's nice. And that's our thought for the 4th of July.
Happy 4th, everybody. Hope you guys didn't get blown up with fireworks.
Jesus Christ. Did you hear it last night?
I was in Park City last night.
Well, I saw you posted something about 2 a.m. On your Facebook.
Yeah.
About 2 a.m. fireworks. Was that in Park City?
It wasn't real fireworks. It was lightning.
Oh. I heard fireworks being set off during the thunderstorm.
You can't improve on God, people.
And I was like, who are these jackasses?
Yeah.
Who are out there setting it? At least it was, you know.
And they got, our neighborhood, they've got some powerful ones.
Oh my God. You don't have to go anywhere for a fireworks show. It's going to happen right here.
It's amazing. We literally, like, at one point I heard some firecrackers going off, and I was like, oh, because firecrackers are illegal in Utah. I heard the little firecrackers going off, and then I started to hear, boom! And I was like, what the? That is not, that you, where? I think someone in our neighborhood has just dynamite.
Yeah. Well, Brent and I sat and listened to firecrackers go off. One string, which apparently they had like connected a lot of strings together, but one continuous firecracker round go for probably about 10 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
And we were like, at a certain point, it just was absurd. We were like, when is that stop? It was like right few houses down.
At what point does it stop being fun?
It was, you get bored of that.
It's not going to be fun.
Yeah.
30 seconds in, you're like looking at your watch. Are these things still going? Okay.
But it was probably some little kid.
Yeah.
You know, he was like,
and they're like, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
And they never actually thought it through.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, thank you guys for listening. If you would ever like to, you know, chime in, give us your 2 cents. You can do so at facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
Sure, chime
leave
away.
a comment.
Yeah, go write to us at podcast@thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you could leave us a voicemail at 424-666-8442.
Right. Don't forget that all of our best listeners also donate to us.
The finest listeners agree.
Yes, exactly. Discerning listeners know. But they go to thankgodimatheist.com and click on donate.
That's nice. And also there are videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
You can look at them if you haven't yet. And then, of course, thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for letting us use their music.
Yeah,
so
thanks.
generously.
And we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.
Bye.